This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports. You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host Keith Angle on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Hey guys, Keith Angle for TGI Sports Talk, my weekly vlog right here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. Guys, the state of Major League Baseball. I've been railing on this now for what seems like years, and I know that many of you, especially some of the, younger generations than mine, are going to think I'm like Bob Costas or the old guy up on my porch screaming at kids to get off my lawn, as I've said many times. But this game I love the game. Let's not get this wrong. I love baseball. I grew up as a baseball fan, number one. But this game is getting away from the game that I loved, and there's so many things that have changed, and not for the better. We got a looming lockout. Let's start there. We got a looming lockout. We don't have a CBA, and we've got labor strife for the first time in, gosh, I want to say almost 2 decades. And it's going to be a lockout, don't get me wrong. Sports in general do not have strikes anymore. Owners lock the players out before they have a chance to strike. Very unlikely that they're going to come to some agreement on a new CBA before December 2nd, which is when the lockout would happen. Now you think, it doesn't really matter, but it affects a lot of things. You think it doesn't matter because spring training isn't for months, but it affects the free agency market. It affects the trade market. It'll affect the winter meetings. There will still be winter meetings because the minor leagues still meet at the same time. There's discussions about those. But if this lingers on into the spring training, they're not going to get into camps. And players, by the way, can't use facilities during the offseason to train, which maybe isn't a bad thing because some of the training we do today, I think, leads to some of the problems in Major League Baseball when it comes to injuries. So the lockout is the first thing. And there's a lot of things on the table that have to be decided. And not all of them, or most of them, are good for the game. Mostly they're going to fight over money, of course. The players want a bigger piece of the pot. I mean, players make plenty of money now. Whenever this becomes, now it's become millionaires fighting against billionaires. And the average fan doesn't want to deal with that. Doesn't want to hear about it. So that's going to be at the core of it. But there's going to be other fights. Some of the rules that have gone in. Well, first of all, there's going to be talk about expanding the playoffs. Please don't expand the playoffs. They're watered down enough. We already have teams that shouldn't be in. We've already got 106-win teams that don't win their divisions and have to play one-game playoffs just to get in. And we end up with 108-game winning team out after one game. What's the sense of playing 162 games, guys? Don't expand the playoffs further. MLB's talking about us going as far as 16 teams. 12, they talk about. 14, 16. Gosh, half the teams get in. What is the point of the regular season? Don't do this. There's a universal DH. Not a big fan of the DH, but the Players Union is never going to vote it out in the American League because of the jobs that are created for it and big money, big contract jobs these DHs get, the productive ones. When the DH was put in, I may do a vlog just about this. When the DH was put in the 70s in the American League, it was to try to get more offense in the game. Another rule change to give more offense to the game, which every rule change seems to address. But at that point, it was also to keep some of these older guys that were really good hitters, or still decent hitters. Most of them weren't great hitters. anymore. Older guys playing in the game. Jim Ray Hart, I remember, with the Yankees. Orlando Cepeda. Tommy Davis with the Orioles. You'll remember some of these names if you're old enough. But now it's a big part of the game. High paid position as well. And it's not just old guys. It's young guys. I'm not a big fan, but I'm okay if we put in universal DH. Although Joel Sherman from the New York Post had an interesting, and I got to give him credit for this, had an interesting thought about this. Put the universal DH in, but tie a new rule to it. And again, I'm not all for new rules, right? But put a new rule into it, tying the DH to the starting pitcher. So once you take your starting pitcher out, you lose your DH. I think it's a great plan. Keep pitchers in. It'll incentivize managers to keep their pitchers in the game longer, right? And induce some strategy into the game that's taken away when you take the pitcher out of the lineup, and you don't have to worry about when to pinch hit for them, double switches at all. Now, they are talking about doing away with some of the stupid, silly rules that they put in. Hopefully this gets done. 7-inning doubleheaders. Goodbye. Gotta go. Not baseball anymore. Sorry. Putting a runner on second base to start extra innings. Silly rule. Not baseball anymore once you do that. Good chance it's gone. A couple rules that they've tinkered with and thought about. I know they tinkered with this in some of the minor leagues, moving the pitching mound back. Please stop changing the game of baseball. You don't need to do that. Can't see that happening. Eliminating the shift. Putting rules in to eliminate the shift. Don't do that. Just teach people how to play the game correctly. Teach hitters to hit where the people are not standing and not hit into the teeth to shift. Teams will stop shifting. Baseball needs a Billy Martin, right? Baseball needs, I'm trying to think of some other guys that are that type of, I don't want to say innovative, but baseball minds that are just going to say, guys, you got a whole side of the field open here. Use it. Not just be okay with the state of the game today, which I'm going to jump into now. And that's how the game is played itself, how the game is taught, how the game is managed, how the game is scripted. We're okay with strikeouts and guys striking out 180, 200 times a year. It doesn't matter anymore. Analytics have shown supposedly that it's okay to strike out as long as you walk and also drive in runs. So we wait for 3-run home runs, watch guys hit into the shift. It's strikeout or walk. Really exciting baseball, right? Start teaching guys correctly. Hit the other way. Situational hitting, lost. Base running, lost. Defensive play, for the most part, not good fundamentally. You got great athletes that make great defensive plays. But for the most part, the fundamentals are getting lost. They're not getting taught in the minor leagues while you're contracting minor leagues, so guys spend less time in the minor leagues and blah, 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 blah. The game scripts that the managers have come up with. Oh, as far as the training too, while we're at it, let's teach pitchers to actually pitch. Let's train them to actually pitch more than 75 pitches in a game. I don't know that we got to return to the days of the catfish hunters throwing 200 pitches a game, completing, 35 out of 42 starts. But something in between would certainly be reasonable, which leads into the game scripting. You saw it in the World Series, and it's frustrating. As much as I enjoyed the World Series, I really did. The game scripting, which is so obvious, is infuriating. It's obvious the Braves had a script when Ian Anderson is pitching a no-hitter and only thrown 75 pitches, and he gets taken out of the game. So they knew beforehand. And most of these major league franchises have this. The game's scripted. Ian Anderson, we want 5 innings, 75 to 90 pitches, whatever. Get him out of there. So there's no feel for the game anymore. We just go by the script, right? It might as well be a Broadway play. Not that there's an exciting moments in baseball. There still are, but you lose them when you continue to script these things. We don't get great matchups in the 7th inning. You remember back in 2000 and can't remember. I want to say 2001. I'm probably wrong. But Grady Little leaves Pedro Martinez in the game in the 7th inning. And this, at the time, was the first time I could remember this great outrage over leaving your best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in baseball, in the game at the most crucial moment of the game. And it seems like we've been sliding downhill ever since then. Maybe it's 2003, by the way. That was the year Aaron Boone hit the home run off of the knuckleballer to win the game. But I digress. But since then, we've been going downhill with this type of thing. The pitchers we pay the most money don't pitch the most important parts of the game, and it's crazy. No feel for the game. We don't train right. Guys are injured all the time. It's part of the way they train. You didn't see, what was a quad injury, 20 years ago, an oblique injury? They didn't keep these guys out for months at a time. Things have got to change, guys. Rob Manfred, first of all, needs to go. We got to get the lockout settled. I don't care if there's a lockout on December 2nd, but it can't last long. It certainly can't last into spring training, or you're going to lose fans. You're going to lose guys like me. Came this close when we almost had a strike the last time. Again, I don't remember the exact year, but it wasn't too far past the cancellation of the 1995 season, and I said, I'm not going through this again. They strike again, I'm done. We miss Major League Baseball next year, they're going to lose a lot of people. And they need to change some of these rules to get it back to the game, closer to the game that I loved watching. I still love baseball, don't get me wrong. But sometimes the games are so boring and last forever. Don't put rules in to speed up games. Don't put rules in to try to score more runs. Just enforce the rules that you have. And baseball can make a comeback. I say a comeback. Baseball's still pretty popular, but look around, guys. I was in the Yankee Stadium Labor Day. Place was not even 3/4 full. Labor Day. Fix this game, Rob Manfred, or get Rob Manfred out, better yet, and get somebody in who will fix it. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk. Tell me what you think. Some of you think I'm nuts. I know you do. Tell me. Please get to TGI Sports Talk, like and follow the show. Invite your friends. We're growing like crazy, and I want to keep doing it. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.